It's TK Friday, and today I'm doing a full edit of Hardwick Park in Sedgefield, England. Stay tuned. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Joy of Editing with Dave Kelly, and welcome to TK Friday. Today's image comes to us from Andrew Watson, Hardwick Park, Sedgefield, England. This is going to be fun, a little different today. If you have an image you would like me to edit on a TK Friday, go to the description of this video, scroll down through near the bottom. You're going to find a contact me link. Contact me and we can discuss doing one of your images on a TK Friday. And as always, you can download this image and the PDF notes and give this edit a try. You know, make it your own. You could use my notes as a suggestion, but feel free, experiment, have some fun. By the way, if you don't yet own the TK9 plugin for Photoshop, I'll have links in the description below this video that'll take you over to Tony Kepper's web store. There you're going to find the TK9 plugin for Photoshop, a lot of great panels over there you can pick up. Sean Bagshaw's training videos, which I highly recommend. And you'll also find the TK Grayscale and TK Magic Mixer plugins. They're sold as a bundle. You'll get both plugins for $12. If you're into black and white photography, you'll love TK Grayscale and TK Magic Mixer. Use my promo code DK15 and you'll save 15% off your entire purchase. When you use my promo code, I make a small commission, and this helps to support my channel, so I really appreciate it when you use my promo code. And not only are you helping me out, but you're getting 15% off. Well, let's go ahead and get started. As always, I start out here in Lightroom Classic. I put a linear profile in this image because I want to keep it relatively flat, because I want to do all the major editing in Photoshop with the TK9 plugin for Photoshop. I did do a white balance adjustment. After I add the linear profile, I click auto, and I make sure I'm not clipping my white or black point by adjusting my white and black slider. Now, as far as detail, I use Lightroom's AI denoise, no sharpening, because I save that till the end when I'm ready to output my image to whatever source I want to send it to, whether it be a print or for social media or whatever. And then as far as lens corrections, I always check on remove chromatic aberration, enable profile corrections. I didn't do a crop. I really like the composition on this image, so I left it just the way it was. This image will be a little challenging to edit, but we'll see what we can pull out of it. So it's ready to go into Photoshop. I just right-click on the image, go to Edit In, and click on Edit in Photoshop 2026. Usually for the first adjustment, I do a balance and contrast, but I'm doing it a little bit different today. I'm going to adjust different zones of this image, zone 1, 2, and 3. So let me show you how I do that. I'll come up to the multi-mask panel, hold down your Shift key, keep holding it down, and click on the Brightness Contrast Adjustment button. And what you're going to get is a group called Adjust with Zones. And inside there, we have zones 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Zone 1 is the darkest zone, and they get lighter as they go up to zone 5. I'm only using zones 1, 2, and 3, so I'll shut off zone 5 and zone 4. And then if you come to the Converse Higgs panel, see this little lightning bolt right here? If you click it, it'll get rid of all unused Photoshop layers. And you see those 2 layers go away. So that's pretty cool. It's a nice little tip. By the way, take notice that all of these zones are controlled by blend diff. You can see the little symbol here showing us that we have blend diff on these layers. That's how they're controlled. We're going to start out with zone 1. And if you want to see where zone 1 is, click the double arrow magenta button on the Converse Higgs panel, and you can see where all those dark tones are. You see that? Now to shut off the magenta overlay, just click the double arrow button again. And now let's make the adjustment. Let's darken up those darker tones. So we're going to drag the brightness slider to the left, and I'm going to take it over to right there, -123. And now let's give it some contrast. I'll take the contrast slider to the right, over to right there, 56. Now let's click on zone 2. Let's click the double arrow magenta button and see where that zone hits right there. So let's click this button again to see the image back. And now I want to lighten that up a little bit, so we'll take the brightness slider to the right. You see how I can adjust it. And again, blend diff is controlling what's getting adjusted. So I'm going to take this to right there, 14. And now let's give it a little bit of contrast. Right there at 17. Now let's go to zone 3. Let's click the double arrow magenta button again, and we can see where that zone hits. Click the button again to go back to the image. And I just want to lighten up that a little bit. See, I'll move this to the right. See how that can lighten up back in there? And we're going to take this over to 19. Now, if we shut off the group, we can see there's the before and there's the after. So we're off to a good start. Now, I highly recommend that you collapse this group when you're done because your next adjustment will go inside that group if you don't. So click right here on this little triangle, and that just closes that group. Now, the next thing I want to work on is the foliage. We have a lot of foliage in here, so let's work on the color of the foliage. So I want to select the foliage. So come up to the multi-mask panel and click on the color mask button. Let's sample a color like right down in here that represents the foliage. So we're going to click here and click OK. We're making a mask right here. So we're going to brighten this up a good bit, and I'm going to take it over to like right about there. And now we need to output this mask, and I'm going to use a solid color adjustment layer. So come and click this button right here. I call it a hamburger menu, so give it a click, and you're going to find a bunch more adjustments in here. We want to use a solid color adjustment layer, so click this button for a solid color adjustment layer. A color picker comes up. It remembers that last color you picked, or you could pick another color on here if you want to. It doesn't really matter at this point. Just click OK. And now note we have a solid color adjustment layer with that mask on it in the soft light blend mode, which is a good blend mode to start with. You can always change it later, but we're going to use a soft light blend mode. But now we need to make the adjustment. So double click on this icon and that color picker comes back up. Now you see this circle. You can move this around and change the color. Like if I move this to the right, I can saturate those colors more, or to the left and desaturate them. I can darken those colors. I can lighten those colors. I could come here and change the tint of those colors. So we have a lot of power going on here. We can really experiment and get the right color look we want for this image, okay? I'll look at my notes and type in the hex code for the color I finally came up with, and I'll show you that. So I typed in the code CEECA1, and it sits right here. I'm going to click OK. Now that effect is too strong, so I'm going to use opacity plus, or you could click on the opacity right here and just drag this slider back. But I ended up with like 80% opacity, so I'll click on the 8. If you right click on the 8, you can see the before, and then click again, you can see the after. I'll shut off this layer. Here's before and here's after. See, we've lightened it up and changed the color a little bit, and I think it looks a lot more cheerful, and I'm liking it. And now I want to use another solid color adjustment layer and target these warmer colors in the image. Come back to the multi-mask panel, click on the color mask button. And now we want to sample some of the warm color. And I'm going to click like right here and click OK. And now we've created a mask of those colors. And now I want to lighten up the mask. So I'll take the brightness slider to the right. And I think I'll take it over to like right about here, targeting those warm colors. And now let's do the same thing. Click on the hamburger menu for the output, and we want to use a solid color adjustment layer. So click this button right here. It remembers that last color. Just click OK. And now we have that solid color adjustment layer in the soft light blend mode. And by the way, TK9 sets you up with that soft light blend mode. You would normally get a normal blend mode there, which you wouldn't want here. We do want a soft light blend mode, and typically that's what you use, but you could always change it if you need to. And now let's adjust this solid color adjustment. So double click this icon, the color picker comes up. And again, you can move this around. You could saturate those colors more. You can lighten those colors up. You can darken them. You can change their tint, whatever you want. And what I want to do is look at my notes, and I'll type in my hex code, and I'll show you the color I finally came up with. I typed in the hex code, which was FFAE6F, and this is the color right here. Just click OK. Now let me shut this off. Here's before and here's after. Now I think the effect is too strong, so I want to lower the opacity of this layer. I'm just going to use opacity plus. I'm going to go to 80% again. I'll click on the 8. Okay, now let me shut off this layer. Here's before and here's after. See how it just warms up these warm tones in here? Again, here's before and here's after. Now, as I study this image, I'm thinking I want to add some clarity to the foreground of this image, but I want to add it through a depth map, and I'll show you what I mean. First off, we need to make a foreground and a background depth map. So come to the multi-mask panel, look for this target icon, this button right here. Hold down your Command or Control key while you click this button, and you'll create a depth map. And we can see the depth map right here. Look for this button right here, Save as Channel in Inverse, give that a click. And if you look at my channels down here, I have a depth map background and a depth map foreground. That's what I want. I want to use a clarity and dehaze adjustment that was just added to the latest updates of Photoshop 2026. So come down here and click right here, and all your adjustments are in here, and click on clarity and dehaze. And now we have a clarity and dehaze adjustment layer. Now we need to add the foreground depth map to that. So here's how we do it. Come to the Combo CX panel, click on the layer mask calculator, click subject foreground, and click this button to apply it. And now you can see we have the foreground depth map attached to this layer. And now we'll go to the properties panel and we'll adjust clarity first. So I'll drag this clarity slider to the right, and you see how I'm adding clarity just to the foreground. And I want to add a good bit. I'm going to take it over to right there, 59. Now I want to use some dehaze, but I want to move it to the left actually to add a slight amount of haze. But notice the tree, it gets a little bit lighter, and that's what I'm looking for, just to lighten up that tree a little bit. And I just want to take it to right here, -8. Now let me shut this off. Here's before and here is after. So the tree is getting some nice clarity in some of this area down in here, which is the foreground area. Again, I'll shut this off. Here's before and here is after. Now let's add some clarity and dehaze to the background. So again, come down here, click right here, click clarity and dehaze, and we have a clarity and dehaze adjustment layer right here. And now come to the Combo CX panel, click on the layer mask calculator button. This time we want to go to the background, so click on background and click this button to apply it. Now we'll come up to the properties panel and let's add some clarity, and I don't want to add as much this time. I'm going to take it over to right there, 30, and let's give it a little bit of dehaze. We'll drag this slider to the right over to right there, +11. Now let me shut off this layer. Here's before and here's after. Now as I study the image, I'm thinking a little bit of dodging would be nice, and I'd like to look at some of the light areas down in here, maybe zing a little bit of light in here and up in here and all around the image. Okay, so what I'm going to do is come to the Combo CX panel. Now you can use the left or right side of the dodge tool. In this case, it doesn't really matter. I'll use the left side, so I'll click right here, and you'll note we have a 50% gray layer in the overlay blend mode. Now, to make sure I'm only targeting light areas, I'm going to come up to the multi-mask panel, click on the Edit Blend Diff button, click on Lights 1 right here. That assures me I'll only target light tones. I'll click the X. I can close this panel right now. I don't need it open, but I have my Lights 1 blend diff in this layer, and you can tell by that symbol right there. Now I want to dodge with a soft edge brush at a lower opacity of 10%. Right now I have 100% brush opacity. You could type your 1 key to get you to 10%, but I want to show you something new. Tony came up with the TK brush pilot. It's absolutely free. You could pick it up at Tony Kuiper's web store. I have links for it in the description below. And let me show you something here. I'm going to drag down right here so you can see some instructions here. A left click sets opacity. So I want 10% opacity. So I'll left click the 1. That gets me 10% opacity. It tells you your pixel dimensions of your brush, by the way. That'll go away in a second, but it'll let you know how big your brush is. If you want to set the flow, just right click any one of these buttons. And these buttons go like 0, 1, 15, 20, 25, 30, and so on. And to set your hardness, you double click any number. So right now, you see the green dot right here. If I were to double click this button, I would have 15% hardness. I want 0% hardness, so I'll double click this button right here. So I have 0% hardness and 10% opacity with a flow of 100%. And I'm just going to drag this up so we don't see that instruction area. The brush pilot was made just to make adjusting your brush a little more intuitive. So what I'm doing is looking for light areas and brushing over them. And you don't have to get them all, just decide the ones you want. Now, if you brush, unclick your mouse, and then left click and paint again, it'll get a little bit lighter. So I'm just looking for light areas. I'm going to keep going here. I'll finish this off and then I'll get right back to you and show you my final result. I finished my dodging. Right now the dodge layer is off. Let me turn it on and show you what I've come up with. So that's my result right there. Let me shut it off. Here's before, here's after. You know, I just added a little bit of light back through here, and I think it adds a lot more interest to the image. Now what I want to do is work on the overall color balance of the entire image, and to do that, I'll use a color balance adjustment layer. Come up to the multi-mask panel, click on this button right here. The color balance lets us work with different tones. We have mid-tones. If you click this drop down, you can work on highlights or you can work on shadows. I started out working on mid-tones. In other words, what we can do here is we have 3 sliders: cyan red, magenta green, yellow blue. So if I wanted to shift my mid-tones more red, I can move this way. You see that? Or make the more cyan go this way. Same with like greens, I can make the image more green, less green, more magenta, or more blue, more yellow, all in the midtones, and then I can work on highlights and shadows. What I'm going to do is look at my notes, dial in the values, and I'll show you my final result. Right now, this color balance layer is turned off. Let me turn it on. So here's my result. Again, before and after. And in the midtones, you can see I added a little bit of red to the midtones, a slight amount of green, a little bit of blue. And now for my shadows, I added a little bit of blue to shadows and a little bit of magenta to the shadows. And then as far as highlights, a little bit of red, a little bit of green, and just a little bit of blue. So again, I'll shut this off. Here's before and here's after. And remember, you can always pull back in the opacity. Right now I'm at 100%. Like here is 80% or 50%, but I like it at 100%, so I'll click on the 10 on opacity plus. Now, I just want to add a basic vignette, so come to the Combo CX panel, click a TK button if your actions aren't open, click the vignette action button, a Gaussian blur comes up, just click OK. Now, I want to keep this out of my lightest lights and my darkest dark, so we're going to use Blend Diff to help us. So click on the Edit Blend Diff button, click on this button right here for No Darks 1, No Lights 1. If I uncheck gray, you can see this is before that and this is after the Blend Diff. Click X to close the Edit Blend Diff panel. Nothing changes on this layer. We have the Blend Diff. I want to increase the opacity from 30% to 40, so I'm going to click the 4 button on TK opacity plus, or you could click right here and drag your slider up if you need to. I'll shut off the vignette layer. Here's before the vignette and here's after. I do like the vignette. And now I have one final step, and this was Tony Kuiper's idea. When I showed Tony this edit, he said, "Hey Dave, why don't you try this for the last step? It may work." So we gave it a shot. And let me show you what Tony showed me. We're going to add some light rays coming through here. Now, the first thing we need to do is stamp all of our layers together. So come to the Combo CX panel and click this button right here. And now we have a pixel layer. It's a stamp of all the layers together. And now come up to the multi-mask panel and click on the Luminosity mask button. And we want to target light tones. Right now we're in lights 1. Here's lights 2. We're looking for the light coming through the image. And here's lights 3. See that light? That's what we want to target. Now we want to output this as a selection. So on the multi-mask panel, click this button right here. That outputs this as a selection. You can tell by the selection indicator. Now we still have this layer here. What we want to do, you want to use a shortcut of Command or Control J. And what that does is it takes that selection and it dumps it onto this layer right here. Now we don't need this layer anymore. So click on this layer and click on the trash can. We just delete that layer. Now click on this layer and make it active. If you Option or Alt click on this eye, you can see that is the light areas that were selected. Option or Alt click this again to go back to the image. And now come up to the Photoshop menu and click on Filter and look for Blur Gallery, and then you want to click on Path Blur. And you see this arrow right here. You want to click here and you want to drag and you want to mimic the way that light is coming through on that angle. See that? Right like that. And now what you want to do is take the speed and drag this the whole way to the right up to 500%. And those light rays start to come across there. You see that? Just come up here and click OK. And now you can see the light rays streaking across these trees. Now I think the effect is too strong, so I want to pull it back. I'll use TK opacity plus. I'll click on the 6 for 60%. Now right click on the 6. This is before and this is after. I think that looks much better. I really like that. Now look at the image. I'll shut off the light rays. This is without the light rays and this is with. I really think that light adds a little bit more impact to the scene and I like it. Now, if you don't like it everywhere, like up on this tree right here, what we could do is come to the Combo CX panel, click this button to add a mask, click on the black brush. I'm going to use the brush pilot and give myself 100% opacity by clicking on the 10. I have 100% brush opacity with a black brush, and I'm just going to paint it off of this tree limb right here. Now let me shut it off. Here's before and here's after. Before and after. And now let's see an overall before and after. Where did we start from? So come to the Combo or CX panel and click this button right here. We started out here. I'll click it again and we end up here. So quite a dramatic change to this image, and I really like the results. Now download the image and the PDF notes and give this edit a try and make it your own. Experiment with it and see what you can come up with. Well, there it is, everyone. Another TK Friday comes to a close. I hope you enjoyed today's full edit. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. If you're not yet a subscriber to my channel, please subscribe. Click the bell notification icon. Click all so that you'll receive all notifications, and then every time I upload a new tutorial, you'll get notified about it. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me today in the Joy of Editing with Dave Kelly, and I will see you all right here next time. But until then, happy editing.